What's going on, beautiful people, and welcome back to the channel.
Wait a minute, this isn't the MD Fish Tanks channel. Well, if you don't happen to know who this is MD Fish Tanks, and he's a friend of mine that came all the way from the UK to scape a tank for me, and we also hung out at Aquascaping for a while. He didn't think anybody was going to show up for him, but look at this.
Like thousands of people, it's crazy.
They're all here to see you.
No, they're not all here to see me.
Well, most of them are here to see you.
Some of them are here to see me.
A majority of them are here to see you.
Well, since this was his first time to the US, and especially Texas, I had to introduce him to some of the great things about our state. So we took him to a proper barbecue place, introduced him to Buc-ee's, and after we gathered up all of our supplies, we really needed to eat lunch.
Just got our driftwood, we've got our plants, and now we're going to a great American institution for lunch, and hopefully we get some nice food in that.
And that was only one of many times that we had to visit this fine establishment, and if you were to ask MD, this was definitely his favorite restaurant. So with that introduction of MD Fish Tanks, let's go ahead and get into today's video.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Listen, right behind the camera there is an epic 100-gallon tank that none other than MD Fish Tanks designed and scaped for us. So I want to give a huge shout out to MD for coming over to the United States just to hang out and scape this tank for me. Well, of course, he was here for Aquascaping too. And the cool thing about this tank is that other than MD, there are only two other people in the world that have an MD scape, and that is Fish Shop Matt, of course. What's up, Matt? And the person that won the Aquascape demo tank that MD put together in the API booth at Aquascaping this year. So there are literally 4 people in the entire world have an MD scaped tank, and we're one of them. So we got to be grateful for that, right? So make sure you subscribe and stay up to date with this tank because this thing is epic. And today we're going to kind of look at some of the elements of putting it together as well as stocking it with fish. So with that, let's get into this.
Alright guys, well if you've been around the channel for a while, you know that this is my 100-gallon tank, and this was given to me by Brenton, and it was one of my first larger tanks on YouTube. This thing is like 20 plus years old, and the glass was kind of scratched up, so we decided to spin it around, clean the glass up a little bit, and start this Aquascape. I learned so much during this process, just watching how MD meticulously designs everything out, thinks through it step by step. And now for some fish. Our centerpiece is going to be these angelfish. We're going to have some bristlenose plecos and a bunch of neon tetras.
This is the master's work. This is the tank that MD scaped for us, and this thing is looking insane. Look at the angelfish. They look amazing. They're all out, they're ready to eat. They're like the pigs of the aquarium. And look at all of the neons. They look so amazing. This thing is seriously one of a kind, and I cannot thank MD enough for this setup. This thing is crazy. But we're gonna take a look around at some of the individual types of fish, and let's see what we have in here real quick. Let's take a look at this tank. After about a week and a half of this thing being set up, it looks amazing. And look at these angelfish. First off, they're really hungry, so we're going to go ahead and feed these guys in a minute. But look how great these guys look. I mean, so good. And look at all the neons. And you got some of the Odo catfish, as well as, you see any of the cories? Little Cory catfish there. Unfortunately, we don't see any of the bristlenose plecos because they always stay back behind the background. I'm actually going to be putting some sort of a foam barrier in here to keep the fish from getting back here, because this is where I have my heater. And then on this side, of course, we have the filtration. And unfortunately, they get up behind this background and sometimes it's hard to get them out. So we're going to go ahead and put some sort of a foam barrier in here to keep them from getting back here. But overall, this thing looks amazing. So let's go ahead and feed these guys. We're going to feed them some of our favorite food, some of the API tropical flake. Angelfish are like the pigs of the aquarium. Like they eat so much and they constantly are hungry. That is like the only fish I've ever owned that just begs for food. And now these are fighting. Look at it. It's like, and I feel like this one right here probably get beat up by that one. Probably needs to chill out, but you two need to settle down. But overall, guys, this tank looks amazing. I cannot thank MD enough for setting this thing up for me. An absolute amazing creation. He does such amazing work, and I'm so grateful to be friends with him. He's such a good guy. So once again, MD, thank you so much for setting this tank up. And for everybody who wants to stay up to date, if you happen to be new to the channel, I'd appreciate if you subscribe. And, you know, we'll give you updates on this tank because this will be a long-standing tank. We're not going to change this out for quite some time. In fact, we may not rescape this thing until MD makes his trek back to the United States again. We'll have to see. But with that, guys, thank you so much for coming along on this journey and watching this video. Thank you for anybody that decided to stick around and subscribe. And with that, we will see you next time.